What's up? Welcome back. I'm gonna be doing a more in-depth tutorial on how to rip a PS4 controller. So first off, what you're gonna need is obviously your controller. You're gonna need some fine grit sandpaper, and you're gonna need a really, I don't know if you can tell how small that is, but a little flathead screwdriver. I actually have two, just in case one doesn't want to work. And you're gonna need needle nose pliers, which these are not, but I couldn't find the actual needle nose pliers, so I mean, it's close enough. And then, so this is just for the first part, taking it apart. And then obviously you are going to need some sort of bucket thing, your spray paint, and preferably you're gonna have clear coat, which I'll talk about later. But first step, you want to find the 4 screws on the back of your controller. There's one here, there's another one here, here, and here. So then you can just take your little screwdriver. Actually, it's supposed to be Phillips, but either way, I use a flathead because it works. But then you're going to want to unscrew them. Hopefully they're not too bad to unscrew. Make sure you drop alike because, oh, yeah. So you're also going to want a little box thing. I just use a ring thing, even though there's nothing in it. But you're going to want something like that for all the little screws and whatnot. Once you get all the screws out, you should be able to just kind of push in kind of on this part, and it should start to come loose a little bit. This is always the hardest part, but if you can't get that, you can take your, I think this is what I used it for, it's the small flat head, and just kind of get under the edges. Try not to stab anything inside, but you can kind of get under the edges and pry it open a bit. So I'm kind of just taking this thing and getting up under the edge a little bit. Except I can't. There we go. Okay. Yeah, this one is extra annoying because I do have all the screws up. It just doesn't want to come apart. Okay, maybe you have to be a little bit aggressive with it, but not too bad, because then you will probably damage it in some way. Oh, I just popped that back into place. That's annoying. Okay, we got it. I think. Okay, there we go. So it is going to be kind of annoying, but gently sort of try and keep it together, because as you can see there's a little wire thing. I don't know what this is actually called, but you will have to pull this out. But just wait a second before you do that, because there's a certain way to do it. Okay, so you're going to want to kind of, this is kind of a bad angle, but they're on this half with all the buttons and stuff. You will see a blue, or on the end of this cord thing, there's a little blue, there's a little blue thing. You will want to pull from that side. So you want the wire still attached here on this one with the light bar. That is important, so do not mess that up. So then you can just set that part aside for now. So this is the inside of the controller. Pretty dope. First thing is first you want to kind of, let me get my hand out of the way. You want to kind of pull on the battery a little bit. There's a little sticky thing in there, or there might be. I I actually don't know if mine had this, but then where the wires go, there's a little white square thing inside of another white square thing. You'll see it, but this is where those pliers are probably helpful. So you're just going to want to I feel like I'm just totally wrecking this, but you're going to want to pull on it and it should sort of come out just like that. So then you can set the battery aside for now. So the next thing, there may or may not be a screw in here. Mine didn't have one, and when I did my other friend's controller, I didn't know that. He didn't even know that, and we basically bent this plastic thing, the battery tray. It was a total fail, but you know, his controller works. So if you do have this screw, just kind of unscrew it, obviously. If you don't have it, I believe the battery tray should just kind of come out. So once you unscrew this, you should just be able to pull it out. And then let me put this little screw back in the box. And you want to remember where all these screws are going. I mean, I've done this multiple times. I can help walk through this after we paint it and stuff. So then the next thing is right here. There is a little orange or blue tab thing, and you want to gently pull that one out. And then you should be able to sort of push it through the square it's coming through, and then while you're doing that, you can pull the controller out, or the motherboard thing. So then gently set that aside, and then this is basically what you should have left. So you can just basically, for the light bar, or not the light bar, the touchpad, you can kind of just like, from the outside, you can kind of just push it in, and then it'll come out kind of like that. And set that aside. And then all the buttons, you can just peel this little rubber thing off. It just comes off. I'm trying to see. There is a difference in the two for like the arrows and the buttons. The buttons is a rounded one. So I will set that aside. Then all these buttons just kind of fall out. And don't worry if you're confused, they all have their own little like key thing on the outside. So like the circle is different from the triangle, so you don't have to worry about getting those mixed up. Just gonna set those aside over here along with all the other stuff. And this is more than a one-day project for me because I still have school and stuff. So then this PS4 rubber thing, you can just peel that out, and then the button comes out with it. And then same for the arrows, you just, or the D-pad I guess some people call it, you can just kind of peel the rubber off. And like that it'll fall out, so. Yeah, that's pretty much that for the front part. So I kind of have the arrow thing, the arrow plastic on the rubber just so I can remember, even though I'll show you anyway. So you should be left with just the front half of the shell. If not, you definitely missed something. So then you can just go back and rewatch it. Then you have the back. There's not much to it. This white bar right here, this comes out. You just kind of, like, I think on the right side you kind of just push up first, and then it should just kind of come out. Set that aside, and then Okay, yeah, and then this clear plastic base, you can kind of, you should be able to just kind of peel it off. Oh, okay, this is where the black sticky thing's coming. That foam thing I was talking about, you might need to get a screwdriver to kind of get under it. You want to gently pull that off. You are going to need it. So once you get that off, this should just kind of come out, except mine got stuck to the wire. So then you want to put that aside, make sure the sticky side is up. You want to keep that clean. So then you're just left with this. Don't do anything with this wire. You want to leave that there. Then there is one more screw right in the middle there. And you can just unscrew that. Put that there, and then this little green thing is stuck to the controller with another sticky thing, like a tape, I guess, a little piece of electrical tape. So you want to put that aside. I just put it in the battery tray so it doesn't get messed up, and then the little other translucent, I guess it's kind of opaque, but you know, this piece of plastic should just fall out. And then you should be left with the outer shell. So actually the back part is fine the way it is, because it has like the little kind of grippy stuff on it, like the little pattern, so that's fine. You can leave that. But the front side, you have to sand it all down until it's like not shiny anymore, otherwise the paint might not stick, which would be bad. So you take your sandpaper and then sort of just like lightly start sanding away at your controller, and this will definitely take a while, so I'm either going to skip this or time lapse it. Alright, so once you're done, it should look pretty bad. I mean, that's the goal. Something's gotta look bad to look good, am I right? No, but it should look pretty bad. Like, I know it's kind of hard to get like in that spot and kind of like under that. Just get it the best you can, and you want to get like this whole face. You don't have to get this inside part. Hopefully you didn't do that. It's probably better if you didn't. But once you get it all sanded, you should probably go rinse it off just to get all the extra powder and whatnot. You can still see there's like some all over here. Now I even like blew it off, so I'll have to come take a wet paper towel to it. So if you rinse that off, you might as well like clean this part as well, just to get any like dirt and whatever grime out of there. Yeah, might as well clean the controller while it's taken apart, right? But once you do all that, it should be time for the base coat, which I will get into after I wash this. Alright boys, we out here with the base coat stuff ready to rock. So what you're gonna need is your two halves of the controller, your whatever you want the base coat to be, and you're gonna need some gloves. And these are bent coat hangers, which you will see the use for later. That's just like a personal thing, which works super well, so you should probably do it too. You basically just need a coat hanger. You cut the actual hanger part off, and then you just take the wire and kind of bend it, so that way you can hang it on something so it can dry without like messing any of the paint up. So first you want to put your gloves on, and then it's probably smart to not wear nice clothes, which is exactly what I'm doing. I'm wearing my favorite basketball shorts, favorite sweatshirt. And under that sweatshirt, I'm wearing my favorite white t-shirt. So let's get this spread. So, I guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on there like that, kind of. And then I'm going to hold it from, like, right here. I can't actually see if I'm doing this right. But then I'm going to take the paint, shake it up, make sure it's all good to go. And you want to make sure it's bonds to plastic. And also for all your paints, you want to make sure that the shine is the same. I don't know where it says it, but you know, you want to make sure the shine is the same. So that way some parts of your controllers aren't shinier than the other, which isn't a huge deal. But I'm just gonna roll over here where it's like not important. You want to make sure that there's like no wind, and if there is, you want to be facing away. So like, say the wind is blowing towards this fence, right? If it's blowing towards the fence, you want to be standing towards the fence so that paint blows away from you. It's like painting basics 101. So once you like shake up your paint and stuff, you want to make sure that you're actually recording and that you can see. Okay, so you can kind of see what I'm doing here. Yeeting my wired earbuds, let's go. So you're gonna wanna sort of just hold it up, and then it's like nice. Okay, so you can see like the cloud of paint there. I don't know where the wind is blowing. There isn't really any wind, so it's kind of hovering. I'm trying not to get like spray paint on my white clothes. You just want to get like a nice even coat of paint all over the controller. You don't want to put too much so it doesn't drip. Most of this is going to get covered anyway, but this is like just in case. Yo, I'm like standing right in the cloud. But you just want to get like a nice even coat. Try not to get paint on myself here, or I'm like my GoPro or anything, but that looks pretty good. Yeah, so once you do that, you're just gonna, well, I'm gonna take this and yeet it back into the garage to dry. Okay, so I just took that part up to the garage to dry. So you're gonna do the same thing with the back half. Cardinals, they're still in there. Anyway, you're gonna do the same thing. The back is a little bit trickier because you have like this part too, but you just kind of do the same thing. Just nice even coat. It doesn't have to be perfect. Once you do that, go ahead and hang it up to dry. So once that dries is when the fun begins and we can actually hydro dip. So we got the dry controller, the front part, back part is still hanging up behind me. We got black, white, blue, and orange, which is going to be the colors for this one. We got the controller, a paper towel, which you will see we need that for later. We have two little steering stick things. We might only need one, I'm not sure. But then we have clear coat, which is not actually part of the hydro dipping, but we need it later. And then we have our gloves, which you definitely need. We have our bucket with water and a towel thing, just in case. I actually don't know why I got that, but I will probably need it. So first thing is put the gloves on real quick. I don't know why I'm wearing my Fitbit while I'm doing this. I mean, whatever. But then we got our other glove, you know, you gotta snap it. So basically you're gonna be spraying the surface of the water with paint, and then you're gonna take the controller and like basically just put it in slowly at like a 45-degree angle. Yeah, let's get rolling. So I guess we can, I don't know. Alright, looks like I'm crouching, rip my knees. So I guess we will shake these up. So I guess I'll just start with orange, just kind of get a solid coat going. And I'll put some white in here. Also, you want to make sure you're doing this in like an open air environment, so you don't like inhale all this paint, which I am currently doing. I'm like breathing paint as we speak. It's not healthy, but you know, we chillin'. YouTube grind don't stop. Okay, well, you know, that's good enough. So this is what we need the stirring stick for. We need to kind of make a design, just kind of wing it. Throw that on there, and then pick your favorite spot. And then there's kind of no good way to do this. I guess I'll go back over here. And then before it like gets dry, I guess, kind of just take it and slowly put it in like a 45-degree angle. Remember, slowly. Then once it's all the way in, you just kind of let it sit for a second, and then you can sort of shake this top layer of paint off so you don't get a second layer when you pull it back out. You gotta take your other hand, pull this paint out of here, slowly pull it back up. And that's pretty much what you get. I mean, pretty good. I think it looks nice. I guess I forgot a step. So before you take your gloves off, you're gonna want to take this paper towel and kind of just pick up this extra paint. Okay, so I guess like the same process. Alright, that looks pretty cool. I think that'll work really well. Actually didn't even need those with paper towels, but disposing of this water, I think you can just kind of dump it in your yard or somewhere where it, like, not down the sink, but anywhere where it won't matter if you get a little bit of paint dry. So you're going to take your clear coat, shake it up. And then kind of like the base coat, you just want to get like a nice even coat on it. The wind. You don't have to get the inside. You probably actually shouldn't get the inside just because like that's where all the stuff goes. So, yeah, you just want to get like a nice coat on it. Get out of the way of this stuff. And this is so you don't kind of like, the paint doesn't wear off as you're like gaming and stuff. So, just get like a nice coat on there. So, and then that's basically it. Except it's probably recommended to do like at least 3 coats. So you're gonna let these dry, and then once they're dry, you put another coat on, and then once that coat dries, you can put a third one on it. So that way it's all good to go. But other than that, that's like pretty much it for the clear coat. So once you're done with your clear coat, all you have to do is put it back together and then you're good to go. Alright, so after you put on multiple layers of clear coat, you're gonna put it back together. You want to start with the back half, and you want to make sure that like you can sort of just clear out like all the holes and whatnot. Make sure everything kind of fits, 'cause that's important. So you're gonna want to take this thing in first. Put it right back where it was before. So you want to get your screws. Make sure you get the smallest one, or the shortest one. And then you want to get your mini screwdriver. And right below the tape, there's a hole where the screw goes. So you just want to be careful with it, but you're going to want to screw that in. Not too tight, but you know, tight enough to hold it. Next, you want to take your clear plastic thingy. I don't even know what this is called, like the light bar thing, and you just want to put that right in here. And then you want to take this other clear plastic thing with the little sticky thing on it, and you want this part, I don't even know what you call that, but whatever part that is, you want that kind of over the little clear plastic thing. So make sure you have this little notch thing lined up with the thingy at the bottom here. So then you want to push the tape thing back down a little bit. So once you get that in, you want to take this other white plastic thing, and then you want this side facing up, and then this flat side against the outside. So then you kind of just put in. Actually, don't remember how to do this part. It's kind of annoying. Okay, that was easy enough. So once you do that, you are done with this side for now. Just put that over here. And then you want to take this front part and take your arrows and buttons and just kind of put them in. You want so for these rubber things, you want the darker black side, like the dark dots, like out. So like this goes in like this, so that the rubber is facing the buttons. So you can kind of just push that down. Okay, so once you get all of your buttons in, you want to take your light bar, or touchpad, I don't know what I'm saying, touch bar, and kind of just, okay, yeah, so you want to take it from the inside and kind of like flip it through, except you want this little, actually I don't think it really matters where this little floppy thing goes. So once you put that in, make sure it's nice and secure. Then you take this main part and then put in the joysticks first. And this is kind of tough because you have to get that little tab thing, cord, cable, whatever you want to call it. You have to get that through the little rectangle here. So it's kind of difficult. If you're lucky, it'll just go right in, but odds are that's not gonna happen. So you kind of have to like get in there with a little screwdriver and guide it, plug it in the whatever this is called, the cord cable thing. You want to plug that in right into this rectangle thing, and you want to make sure it's in there, so like the white line should be just above it. You can kind of see it here. You want to plug it into this rectangle here and have the white line like just above it. This powers the touchpad right here. Okay, so now you can put in your battery tray and get your silver screw and screw that in. Yo! So then you want to just put your battery in there, and I don't think it really matters which side goes where, but as long as you plug that in the right way, which is only one way to plug it in, but plug it in, it should like snap a little bit. Make sure that everything's all good. So once you do that, you're done with this, and then you kind of just set this down a little bit, and then you want to take your other half and plug this into the white rectangle here, and you want the blue side to be facing like in, so like facing towards the battery. Okay, so then the line should, once you get that plugged in, the line should be just above the rectangle again. So once you get that, you can kind of put the two halves together. Just push them. And before you put the screws back in, just double check all the buttons, you know, make sure they're all good, the sticks are good. Just make sure everything works. Then you can get your screws, and you want to make sure that there's no like paint covering these holes, otherwise just take like a toothpick to it. Just kind of like poke through them with a toothpick, and that'll get the paint out. So if I'm good at life, I can actually screw this in, but maybe I'll pick a different one to screw in. But then you just, yeah, basically once you put them together, you screw the screws in, and then you should be good to go. One thing that typically happens is the little holes right above the PS button, right here, they kind of get like clear coat / paint covering them, so just take a toothpick and clear that out, and you should be good to go. Alright, so once you're done screwing in the 4 screws here, you are good to go. You're done, and you have officially hydro dipped your controller. And then you're just going to want to make sure all the buttons work, so like just button mash, you know, make sure your sticks are clicking, and I guess you also want to make sure that works. That's a big thing. It's not actually going to turn on because it's not hooked up to my PlayStation, but you're also going to want to plug it in, make sure that it will charge, and then if all that works, then you should probably be good to go, and you're left with your final product. A dope looking controller.